So good afternoon, Rajat. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you. What about you?
Yeah, I am good too. Thank you. So let us start with the interview. So basically, this is a mock interview, and as you know, the basic intention of this interview is to help you to clear your real-time interviews and to check how much proper knowledge you are having related to testing. Even if you are not able to answer the question of any interview question during this time, it is absolutely fine. I'll answer on your behalf so that if you get same question in the real time interview, you are able to answer it. Okay, so let us start with the
Okay.
interview. Yeah, so what is positive testing and what is negative testing?
Positive testing is this testing is done by giving the valid inputs to know how the application will behave. For example, if there is a field that is username, so sorry, the validation are given for that field, that is username should be between 2 to 20 characters. So we are giving the positive values like valid input like value of 5 character. So that is positive testing, whereas in negative testing we are checking the behavior of the application by giving the negative inputs, such as like in the same example we are giving the value of 21 or 25 character that is invalid.
Right. So positive testing is we are testing what the system is supposed to do. Okay. For example, you took an example of that characters 22 to 20 characters. So we will test whether it allows the two values from ranging from 2 to 20. So that is also called as happy path testing. While negative testing is something which we will test the system which what it is not supposed to do. Okay. So that is negative testing. Okay, now what is test strategy?
Strategy is a document which is which where the strategy how the testing will proceed, what is the approach, what is the resources, like how many people are needed for that complete project, that all requirements are inside that test strategy document.
Right. So it is basically related to the approach, how we are going to test the entire product or project. Okay, and basically it is derived from the business requirement documents. It would be created, it can be created by project manager or business analyst, or sometimes QA lead also, they'll create the test strategy document. Okay, now what is the difference between load testing and stress testing?
So load testing, this testing is help us to study the behavior of the application under certain loads. We can measure it by the response time, and the study reveals that how many concurrent users the server can handle effectively and quickly. For example, FB is an application, Facebook, where millions of users are accessing the FB page at the same time. So the load is quite good there. Whereas in the stress testing is done to check the stability of the application, where the amount of load keep on increasing to check where the application breaks. The main intention is to find the break point of the application.
Right. So in simple words, if you say, so load testing is testing the application within the limit, within the user limit. Let's say if an application is supposed to withstand 1,000 users, for example, FB is there. Facebook is expected to be used by 1 lakh users at a time, for example. So we will test it for 1 lakh users only. So we will be testing that particular Facebook application up to 1 lakh users. While for stress testing,
that is load.
Oh yes, that is load testing.
Like up to that.
Yeah, up to 1 lakh. Now for stress testing, we will be testing it beyond the limit, that is beyond the 1 lakh users. Okay, so load testing is testing within the limit, and stress testing is testing beyond the limit.
Beyond the limit.
Okay. So that is load testing and stress testing. Okay, now what is test scenario and what is test case?
test scenario is what to test,
Mm-hmm.
and test cases are how to test. Like it contains all the test description, uh, test steps, precondition, post condition, actual result, expected result, uh, and the main result, like pass and comments and
Right.
priority and CVT.
Mm-hmm. Right. So which are the various components of test cases? What all things you will write when you are writing, let's say, a test case of one particular feature? So which are the various things that you need to consider?
First one is a test scenario,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which is first is test scenario, and then test case ID, uh, preconditions, steps to perform, test data, actual expected data, expected result, and actual result, comments, priority, and severity.
Okay. Will you include severity also in the test case? I think severity and priority are more related to the defects. When you are logging defect into the
Yes,
defect
yes,
management tool, so you will include
yes,
severity and
yes.
priority over there. For test case, you can include priority. That is the test case priority. So you can categorize the defects into three main priorities. One is high, medium, or low, right? Based on
Yes.
their priority or the business of that particular application or software. You can use like that.
Yes.
Okay, so this is fine. Mhm. So what is test plan and which are the various components of test plan?
So test plan is a document which through which we can analyze the scope of the testing, what areas to be tested, what functionalities to be touched, and what are the resources, like how many people are needed to complete the uh, testing, the project, and we can also track the complete project until that particular project is complete.
Mhm. Okay, so
I don't
basically,
know,
yes, yes, please go ahead.
sir, I don't know the components of the test.
Right. So first of all, see, the definition of the test plan, you were partially right. It's a document which contains the planning of all the testing activities, how they are to be carried out, and what sort of activities are to be carried out to deliver a quality product. Okay. So generally it would be prepared by test lead or your test manager would be there. Okay. So in this particular test plan, you will have various components like test plan identifier is there, references, then introduction of what you are testing, then test items, what all features you are going to test, then what is the risk involved into this. Okay. Then you will have a separate section of features which are not to be tested. That also you are going to write exclusively in the test plan so that the client or the customer is on the same page with you. Yes, like this particular set of activities are tested, this particular set of features are not tested. Then next is approach. What will be your approach? Then pass fail criteria you will be mentioning over there. Then what are the test deliverables that you are going to deliver to them? Let's say test closure report you will be delivering at the end of the release, or bug report you will be delivering that so many defects had been found in last 3 months of testing activities and now they are fixed. So how many were major, how many were critical? Then what are the environmental needs to carry out this testing? Let's say you need it's a mobile based application, so you need some kind of Android devices or iOS devices, or it's a web based application, so you need some kind of VMs or browsers that should be available with you. Then about the schedule, like what is the schedule of various testing activities to be getting completed for this particular software. Okay. And then you will get approvals and all those glossary and all those things. So these are all the components in the test plan. Okay. So it is generally taken care by a QA lead, but you need to be aware so that you can also help them if they need any input from your side in all these things. Clear? Any question or
Yes,
any
yes.
doubt so far?
Sir, like you asked this question about the test plan. So
Mhm.
if interviewer ask me the same question, so I at that time I also need to provide this component also. or like only the test plan? What is test?
Right, right. So if they'll ask you along with the definition, tell us the components also, then you need to mention that as well. Okay.
Okay.
They let's say if you get hired in a company or as a software tester, so definitely you will get hired on one particular day. So then what they will expect, they won't tell you that to create a test plan for your project, but at least you should be aware what is your goal, what is your testing goal for this particular project, like that. So that is why they'll ask you, like, is he aware about test plan, is he aware about test strategy, so that they can come to know, okay, whether he is prepared on that lines or not. Okay. And in the company, your test lead or your test manager will only create. Okay, so that is that. Okay, now what are the different types of testing?
Different type of testing, unit testing, integration testing,
Mhm.
unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and UAT testing.
Right, and acceptance testing. Now what is unit testing and what is integration testing?
So unit testing is the testing which is done by the developers at the
Mhm.
code level. So unit testing is kind of white box testing, where whatever the implementation, the structure and logic was written, it is not it is known to the developer.
Okay, and what is integration testing?
Integration testing. This testing is done between two or more modules to check the data flow and communication between these modules.
Okay, so it is integration testing is nothing but the process of testing the interface between the two software units.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
now which are the various types of integration testing?
Uh, there are two types of integration testing: incremental integration testing and non-incremental integration testing, also known as
Mhm.
Big Bang approach.
Right.
And incremental integration testing, there are three approaches like top-down approach, bottom-up, and hybrid. So top-down approach is where the incrementally adding the new modules and check the data flow between those modules. Also ensure that the the new the added module is the child of the previous module.
Mhm.
There is in bottom up approach, uh, incrementally adding the new modules and also checking the data flow and communication between those modules and ensure that the new module added is the parent of the previous module. And the hybrid module is a combination of both top down approach and bottom up approach. Whereas the second one is non-incremental integration testing. Uh, in this testing, all the modules are mixed up in a single shot, and then the testing is performed to check the data flow between these modules.
Mhm. Right. So out of two, integration testing and system testing, which one will be done first? Hello, Rajat?
Yes,
Yeah, am I
yes,
audible?
yes.
Yeah, yeah. So the
I'm
question was,
thinking.
sorry.
Actually, I was thinking
Okay,
about the
okay,
question.
yeah, yeah. Please take your time. Yeah. So let's say if you have to perform system testing and integration testing, so which testing will you perform first?
Also, like these levels are defined.
Mhm.
So unit testing is performed first, then the integration, then system.
Then system, absolutely.
So
So
integration
first of
was
all,
performed first.
right. So first of all, you will perform integration testing and then you will perform the system testing. And after system testing, you will perform acceptance testing. And before integration testing, you will perform unit testing. Now, which are the different types of system testing?
System testing, end-to-end testing.
Mm, Yeah, you can tell end-to-end testing, but there are certain types of system testing, right? Like in integration testing, you were mentioning about top bottom integration testing, bottom to bottom top integration testing, then big bang integration testing, then sandwich integration testing. Similarly, which are the different types of system testing?
Sorry, sir, I don't able to recall right.
Okay, no problem. See, this mock interview is dedicated to you, and even if you are not able to recall, that is absolutely fine. Please don't apologize or don't say any words like sorry or something. So different types of system testing are nothing but regression testing is there. Then
Okay.
sanity testing is there, usability testing, retesting will come, load testing, performance testing, maintenance testing, stress testing. So these are all the types of system testing.
All functional and non-functional testing includes in the system testing.
Right. So again in again when you tell functional, so again you will get all these types of testing like compatibility testing, retesting, regression testing. While for non-functional testing, you will again segregate to performance testing, security testing. Okay. Then again within performance, you will get load testing and this
Stress.
stress testing. Yeah. So these are all together comes under one umbrella of system testing. Is it clear?
Sir, I do know about all the testing, but I
Mhm.
forgot like all these comes under the system test.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what is the difference between functional testing and non-functional testing?
So in functional testing, uh, this testing is done to check the behavior of the application, like
Mhm.
what the product does.
Right. So that is functional testing. What the system
Functional
actually
testing,
does.
and
Yeah. And what is non-functional
for
testing?
example,
Yeah.
sir,
Yeah.
in functional testing, I'll take an example. Like
Mhm.
if I'm working on that banking domain, so the main functionalities of the banking domain is that like user can able to see the balance, can view the statement, can transfer the money. So these are the main functionalities which the user want from that application. So this is functional testing where we are going to perform the test. And where in the non-functional testing, we mainly perform this testing and to understand how to operate the system, like what how the product works. The main intention of this testing is to uh, identify how to operate the complete application by performing the performance testing, usability testing, reliability testing, etc.
Mhm. Right. So how well the system performs is non-functional testing. Sorry. And what the system actually does is functional testing. Okay. Now, which testing is performed first, functional testing or non-functional testing?
I think so. Functional testing should be performed first.
Mhm. Right, you are absolutely right. So functional testing will be performed first because first of all, they need to check whether that proper functionality is working fine or not. Let's say even
Right.
for one user, it should work fine. Then we need to think about whether it will work for 100 users, 1000 users or not, right?
Right.
So non-functional testing will come second and functional testing will come first. Okay, now types of non-functional testing we just discussed, right? Performance testing, or you can say volume testing, usability testing, load, stress testing, then disaster recovery testing. So these are all types of uh, non-functional testing.
Non-functional.
Okay, now what is acceptance testing?
Acceptance testing. This testing is done to ensure that whether the product which is made by the company is acceptable or not.
Mhm.
So in this testing, this testing was done at the client space or by the business partners to understand whether the particular product meets the acceptance criteria.
Mhm. Right. So acceptance testing is nothing but a formal testing, I would say, conducted to validate or to determine whether the application is developed as per the business requirements or not. Okay, now what are the types of acceptance testing?
Uh, Three types are there, like alpha, beta, and gamma test.
Mhm. What is alpha testing and what is beta testing?
Alpha testing is done by the in-house developers and the tester before delivering the product to the customer. So, okay. And the second one is beta testing, which is done by the limited end user to identify the behavior of the application. And this was done at the client space.
Mhm. Okay. Now, can you tell me the high-level test scenarios for a Zoom application? How will you test a Zoom application? But you have to tell the high-level test scenarios. Okay, no need to tell expected result, actual result. For example, you will verify whether the Zoom app is getting opened in mobile and simultaneously it is getting opened in your laptop as well. Like that, one of the scenario. Similarly, what are the different test scenarios for Zoom application?
We have to find the test scenarios.
Yes, the test scenarios. What all things you will verify? What all things you will test in for Zoom application? Do you want me to help
To
you?
verify,
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
I'll try answer. To verify that the user able to join the Zoom meeting by the provided link.
Mhm.
To verify whether the particular if we are sending a link to the user and the password, so we have to verify whether that user can able to write the password in the password field. To verify whether the sorry, to verify the
Yeah.
to verify the recording functionality.
Recording functionality is working right or not. You are going in the right direction, right? Don't get nervous or panic. You are going in the right direction. If you want, you can have a glass of water as well.
Oh, no, sir. Thank you, sir. To verify the functionality of the chat, is it working right or not, and also to verify the screen share functionality, when the to see whether the if we give the permission to the user, he is enabled to see our screen or not. Also to verify the functionality of recording, and to verify the functionality of reactions, also the functionality of the leave, like if a user wants to leave. Also to verify the functionality of mute the audio. That's it, sir.
Okay, right. Now, whatever test cases that you were telling were of functional testing types. Now let us see at the non-functional testing also. So if the license is a trial license for the Zoom application, so it will not allow you more than 100 users. If it's a purchase license, it should allow you 500 users or 1,000 users based on the license that you have purchased. Then if you are logging into the Zoom via your Gmail account, then if you are trying to log in from one device, let's say from laptop, then if you are trying to open the same meeting with the same Gmail account into your mobile, then it should give some message like your meeting is already started in other device. Okay, that kind of message should or pop-up should come. Then there is a functionality of waiting room. If you keep any person in the waiting, then he should be displayed, he or she should be displayed in the waiting room until unless you don't admit, so that a person should not be able to view the screen or whatever the things that are happening within the meeting. So that is security based testing test case. Then okay, then annotation is there. So let's say if you want to annotate something, or you want to allow other users to share the screen while you are sharing the screen, so they should get that rights. Then there are also features of having multiple hosts or multiple co-hosts within one Zoom meeting. So let's say if one host is sharing the screen, so another host, if he or she starts sharing the screen, then whose screen will be displayed first? Okay, so those are few of the scenarios about multiple hosts, multiple co-hosts. Then chat moderator, I think you already took. Then right. Then let's say if recording is going on in the Zoom application and you are trying to minimize the Zoom application, then it should give you some kind of pop-up like recording is going on, so window cannot be minimized. Okay. Then let's say if updates are coming into the Zoom application, then those should be easily taken care. Then let's say if you want to share the screen of a YouTube video, so it should allow you to share the sound also of that video. So that setting is also there. So that also you can take care. Then you can create a meeting with your permanent ID. Okay, and then you can also create a meeting with a random ID. So that is also a few of the test scenario. Okay, I think then we are covered with most of the scenarios. Okay, okay, Rajat, any questions so far?
Sir, regarding test cases, like you said, we have to find the test cases related to Zoom meeting. So I covered like almost the functional test cases, but I don't know how to cover the non-functional test cases.
Right, right.
Like I've never know about this purchasing the license. So how can I prepare these test cases when someone asks?
Okay, so whenever you get such kind of questions in the interview, like can you tell me the test scenarios for Zoom application, Google Meet, or fan, table, pen is there, paper is there, whichever objects or whichever applications you get. First of all, create all sort of happy path positive test cases in your mind. Okay, so tell them about all the positive test cases, whether this UI is there, this button is working properly, this validation message is working properly or not. Okay, once you are covering positive flow, then you can go for the negative. Like let's say if it supports only 2 users, then what would happen if 3 users are there? Let's say if this particular functionality can only be taken care by an admin user, then what if the non-admin user navigates to this page? So what would happen? Let's say if this is an API, it accepts only 2 request parameters. You pass 3, then what would be the response? So first, always go for positive, then go for negative. Okay, so this 2 will cover functionality. Now, then you have to go for the non-functional test cases, like types of number of users, permissions based on the metrics. Let's say admin, non-admin is there, super admin is there. Some applications have got full control, while some users have got only limited control. So number of users, number of size, if it's a let's say if the use case is of file upload scenario, so you'll test for 1 KB, you'll test for 100 KB, then you'll go for 1 MB, 100 MB, 1 GB, 100 GB, 1 TB, 100 TB. So this kind of size, volume, number, these are all non-functional type. So once functional is done, then non-functional. Again, in functional, cover both positive and negative. Then in the interview itself, you'll be able to tell them more than 20 to 25 test cases, right? At least 5 test cases you can tell based on the functional, positive, negative, non-functional, size, volume, number. Okay, you don't have to reveal all these things to the interviewer, but this should be going on in your mind when you are answering, so that your mind will give you the test cases that you have to speak up with before that. Okay, so this idea will help you. Okay. Anything else, Rajat?
No, sir. All good.
Okay. Okay, Rajat. It was nice talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.